Okay, and now we are going to get started. Again, welcome to the Ridgefield Main Street Evening Community Meeting. I'm Mary Kay Lamoureux. I'm the Executive Director of Ridgefield Main Street. Thank you to, I forgot to put the A sign up. Thank you, as always, to our sponsors. Our general sponsor for the year is A, and I will get their sign up. We appreciate that. And sponsors for this year for Main Street Day and for Small Business Saturday, we're proud to say is On Point Credit Union. So welcome to them and their involvement and dedication to downtown. We appreciate that. Just very briefly, a few updates from Main Street. We are just through our Hanging Flower Basket fundraiser, which was very successful and is ongoing. The flower baskets are up. We love them, the tradition of it, and watch them grow. They will be twice the size in just a few weeks. So we love having the flower baskets down here. We will do a 4th of July celebration downtown with the 4th of July committee. We will be manning the hamburger booth at the street dance on Friday evening. So that'll be fun for Main Street, really. We love to play a part in the 4th of July festivities. It's such an important day downtown, so we're looking forward to that. Friday, July 10th, after that will be our 8th annual Main Street Day, which is a Celebrate Downtown Day. It'll be from 11 to 2 on that second Friday in July. And we've got music and dancing. It is also the 5th anniversary of the celebration of the new library building. So they will be joining us in Overlook Park, again, 11 to 2, that second Friday in July. And then at the end of July, we are welcoming the Main Street executive directors from all over the state coming to Ridgefield July 28, 29, and 30 for tours and our quarterly training that we do. And we're really excited to have about 40 Main Streeters from all over the state coming to Ridgefield. And they are really excited to be coming too. So we're really excited about that. It'll be 3 days of a lot of people really enjoying our downtown. And it'll be spiffed up and bright and looking great as always. So we do have 4 speakers tonight. I wanted to say one more thing, sorry. In addition to the sponsorship, a very quick announcement about the tax credit program. Out of the state cap of $5 million for this year, there is just $100,000 remaining in the full statewide cap. So if you are someone, and we are going to be making phone calls and emails tomorrow, that still would like to pledge for 2026, that ability and opportunity is going to be wrapped up, I would imagine, in the next few days. So we do have some tax credit program information. If you are a Washington business who pays B&O tax, you make a donation to your Main Street community and you get 75% of that donation as a credit in your B&O tax account. So that's a little bit about that. We can talk more about that later. So again, late addition to the agenda, I would like to invite Ethan Perry, the CEO of the Port of Ridgefield, to come up for our first quick update. Thank you, Ethan.
She made sure to say quick update because last time I was here, they gave me 15 minutes and I took an hour. Thank you, Mary Kay, and thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me. So just a very brief, quick update on the Ridgefield waterfront development. So last night, the port held a community meeting to share where the project stands and, more importantly, to hear from the community about where it goes next. We had a strong turnout and heard a lot from the community. What the port wants everyone to understand is this: the redevelopment of the waterfront will happen. Here's what is confirmed for phase 1: a 9-acre public park, a small boutique hotel, an office building, 1 mixed-use building with retail and restaurants, and 1 residential building, all connected by walking trails and green space. The goal is to break ground in the coming year with an outside deadline of the end of 2028. There are decisions that have not been made yet, and the port wants to make sure that we're hearing from the community. The open questions are the look and feel of the development, density and building design across the site, the open space design and amenities, the design of the ADA accessible kayak launch, day use dock, and boat launch moorage capacity. You can go ahead and go next slide. This summer, The port is coming to you, so we'll be at farmers markets, festivals, neighborhood meetings, and events. Here's the busy schedule. Abby and I will not have a summer. We're going to be out and about in the community, so you'll be able to find us at giving presentations. We'll be tabling at different events like the Ridgefield Farmers Market, Paddle for Life Day of Festivals. We'll be at a Ridgefield Raptors game, and then we also have our port meetings that are, we have the meetings on Wednesday once a month at 3 p.m., and then we have the commission workshop every other Friday. Go ahead and go to the next slide. We have also launched a survey. It is short, it is open now, and your input will directly shape next steps. We do have, Abby's going to pass around sheets of paper with the survey where you can get a QR code. It's also on the website, portridgefield.org/Ridgefield Waterfront. If you want to stay connected as the project moves forward, please sign up for updates on the Port website. That's all I've got for you. Thank you again, Mary Kay, for allowing me to come up here and give a quick update.
You're welcome. Ethan, if you could just switch disclosure. No, actually, you can leave it up. I will go back. Okay. That's actually good. Thank you, sorry about that. Okay. Jessica Kipp is here from the Ridgefield Chamber of Commerce. We have not heard from the Chamber for a while in this venue, so I thought it would be a great time to say hello to you and hear what you've got going on. Thank you.
Okay. So for those of you I haven't met, I'm Jessica Kipp. I'm currently serving as the president of the Ridgefield Chamber of Commerce. I grew up here. This community helped shape who I am, so being in this role is really important to me. And thank you, Mary Kay, for having us. Organizations like Main Street are one of the reasons Ridgefield is so special, and we're happy to be a part of the conversation. I'd like to spend a few minutes sharing what's happening at the Chamber, some of the work we're focused on, where we see opportunities to work together, and as we continue supporting businesses and organizations. The biggest thing I'd like people to know is that there is a ton of new energy at the Chamber right now. We have new board members, fresh ideas, and a group of volunteers who genuinely care about Ridgefield and the people who do business here. And we're looking at it through a lens really of one question, and that's how do we help our local businesses thrive? For us, that means creating opportunity for people to connect, networking, education, promoting local businesses, supporting entrepreneurs, and helping people build relationships that turn into trusted referrals and even friends. A lot of people ask what that looks like, so let me just give you a couple examples. Every Friday morning, we host Coffee Connections at Papa Pete's, and it starts at 7:30, and it draws a really great crowd. The energy is definitely in the room, and it's a chance for business owners, community leaders, residents to start their day by connecting, sharing ideas, and supporting each other. We also host our Wind Down Wednesday on the third Wednesday of every month. That's from 4 to 6. We partner with our local wineries and venues throughout the community to create a relaxed environment where people can build relationships and learn more about the amazing businesses that we have right here in Ridgefield. Lastly is we host our monthly Lunch and Learn the last Tuesday of every month at Beverage in Pioneer Village. Doors open at 11:30, and they open just for us, luckily. Speakers begin around noon, and that brings in a variety of topics, and it really is just to help our members grow professionally and even personally. So whether someone is looking to build their network, learn something new, or promote their business, it's just a really good way to get involved with the community. We also have an incredible group of Chamber ambassadors that many of you know of as our Blue Crew. So they're our outreach team and one of the most visible ways we support local businesses. So if you're opening a new business, celebrating an expansion under new ownership, launching something new, or just want to throw a party at your business, our Blue Crew would love to help. So from ribbon cuttings to grand openings, we love to help you get noticed and feel supported in that space. So one thing I'm personally excited about is finding more ways to collaborate with organizations like Main Street. we don't need to be in separate lanes, right? We all care about Ridgefield. We all want a vibrant downtown, successful businesses, a strong community, and the more we work together, obviously, the better we're going to be. So we're all contributing in different ways, but pulling towards the same direction, and that is just one thing that I absolutely love about Ridgefield. And like I said, I grew up here, so I've watched this community continue to show up for each other and get things done. I mean, businesses support each other, organizations collaborate, and people genuinely care about this place and the people in it. One other thing I'd like people to know is that we at the Chamber are being very intentional about our growth. So we're currently working with a consultant, Kim Capolato. He's been a tremendous resource for us. He's helping us navigate some growing pains and helping us to think strategically about what the Chamber should look like in 5 to 10 years from now. One of the things we've realized through the process is that it's important for us to stop assuming that we know what our members need and start asking them. So we're going through a bit of a refresh of our own brand and identity as an organization. We're sending surveys, we're having conversations, we're listening to our members so we can better understand what support actually looks like for them. And businesses are looking for different things. Some want networking, some want education and resources, others want advocacy and visibility. So rather than telling them what we're doing, we're asking them. And one of the recommendations from Kim that we're exploring is eventually hiring an executive director. Right now, everything the Chamber does is powered by volunteers. We have an incredible board, but we're all balancing careers and families and community commitments. We all wish we could do more, but it's just not possible. So an executive director could help us create consistency, expand our impact, and allow the Chamber to better serve our members and the broader community. So speaking of volunteers, if you've ever thought about getting involved, we'd love to have you. Not everyone needs to serve on our board to be involved. We have opportunities on our membership team, our events team, marketing, finance, and our Blue Crew outreach team. And we also have other projects throughout the year. So if you want to get plugged in, let me know. I'd love to talk with you. Before I wrap up, I do want to mention something our board is especially proud of. This month, we awarded Ridgefield High School seniors with $1,500 scholarships to support their continuing education. So since the Chamber was founded, we've awarded more than $40,000 in scholarships to our local students. It's important to us to invest in our local businesses, but also in our local kids because they are the future of our community, and we're just happy to be a part of it. At the end of the day, the Chamber isn't really about events or people or meetings. It's about people. It's about creating connections, supporting one another, and helping Ridgefield be the kind of place we all want to live, work, raise our families, and build our businesses. We're excited about what's ahead. We're grateful for the relationships we've built, and we're looking forward to working alongside all the great organizations, Main Street, City, Port, Lions, I could go on and on and on, our schools, that make our community so special. So thank you for having me, and I'd like to learn, if you'd like to learn more about the Chamber or volunteer or ways to get involved, I'd love to talk to you.
Thank you, Jessica, and such good information. And we get that question a lot. What's the difference between Main Street and the Chamber? Well, there's a couple of different distinctions. It is a natural partnership, and in a lot of small towns, the Main Street program and the Chamber program are actually run in the same. But a few little differences. So a Main Street organization promotes the Main Street program to its downtown, right? Talks about the program, offers the committee solution, provides those volunteer opportunities, and then promotes all of downtown to the greater community. Whereas the Chamber is a more business to community relationship. The distinction with Main Street is we are promoting the program to downtown. So the tools that are available for downtown, especially small businesses. So this expertise that a chamber has with the business to business relationships, and then the even more business resources that we may not necessarily have just focused on downtown, is a really great partnership. And we really, really, really appreciate that. Speaking of supporting small business, I didn't even prepare that segue. Hillary Vineyard is here. She is with the Southwest Washington Small Business Development Agency. I did not get that right. Southwest Small Business.
I'm going to do it for you.
Thank you.
I'm coming down.
It's the SBA for our area. Hillary Vineyard, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Mary.
I have my phone and I just left it over there.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. So Mary Kay and I met about a year ago at a Vancouver Chamber event. We just happened to be sitting next to each other, and we started to talk about our respective roles. And I had just started with NWBDA, which is Northwest Business Development Association. We are a CDC, a nonprofit and economic development agency, and there are a number of those agencies in Washington. We are one of them. Evergreen, Ameritrust, or some of the other names, Capital Matrix. We are all contracted to do the same thing, and that's for the SBA. So we're the feds. And so you've met the port, you've got the chamber, now you have the feds in the room. And what we do, we do one thing, and that is to help business owners who want to buy their real estate, who want to refinance maybe an existing loan on that real estate, who may need capital equipment. And usually when you're purchasing capital equipment, you're starting at about $500,000. This is equipment you'd bolt in a floor, maybe big manufacturing conveyor belt systems. And we do all the financing for that. And so there I am. I am in Portland, and I manage the commercial lending team for NWBDA. A lot of people think the CDCs are big places. We're 22 people, headquartered out of Spokane. And 5 of those people are my lenders in 3 states. 3 here in Washington, 1 in Oregon, covers Clark County also, and then I have 1 out in Boise for the entire team. Okay, next slide. We'll show you an example. Oh, Mary Kay's coming around. So here's a perfect example. If you came to a bank and said, hey, my building, I want to buy my building, it's $1 million, the bank's going to say, sure, no problem. But usually they're going to want 20% down from you. SBA loan is going to allow a 10% commitment for an equity injection versus that typical bank 20. And what happens is the bank, what we call the third-party loan, it could be a bank, a credit union, a non-bank lender, makes 50% of the loan, so they make the first loan. The SBA comes in with a second loan. We make 40%, and that's through my organization. And then the borrower comes in with 10. A new business, a startup, most of the times a bank says, no thanks, because they don't want to take the risk. And you'll see this a lot in the restaurant world, in the retail world, very hard to get financing. But startups are allowed. Instead of 10%, there's a little extra, it's 15 for the total. And sometimes there's a special purpose. The best example, of course, of all of them is a bowling alley. So if you're a startup bowling alley, it's probably a 20% commitment. And we just did one in Washington. So it can happen, absolutely. Next slide, please. There are 2 loan programs with the feds at SBA. One is the 504, and that's through economic development agencies such as myself. And we do a 25-year fixed rate product. We don't have a balloon. We don't knock at your door as a business owner in 10 years and go, oh, sorry, that really good rate you had, we're going to renew it now at a higher rate. It's a fixed 25. And we do up to 90% financing. The 7A is a different program. That's for the banks and credit unions. I can't forget the credit unions, especially if On Point's in the room. And that's a loan guarantee program. And so what that helps the banks do is a lot of times a small business will come into a bank and say, I don't own the building, but I need a van, I need some inventory, I need some small equipment, and the banks right away have a collateral shortfall. And so that creates a high risk situation for them, and they'll start to waver on getting that approved. But with a 7A, what the SBA does is say, hey, make that loan, and we're going to guarantee the payment. So if your borrower is not able to pay, the government will pay you. And the bank all of a sudden says, hey, with that guarantee, we feel more comfortable, and they're willing to make that loan. So that's a great program. All the banks have this. Some of your very small credit unions may not be 7A lenders, but On Point certainly is. US Bank, Chase, all the players in town are going to have the 7A for you. And really, if I leave you with one impression tonight, is that don't forget to say to banks, hey, do you have some government programs that might benefit me as an owner? And see what they bring out for you, because they're definitely out there. Okay, next slide, please. This is who's eligible. So we don't do nonprofits at the SBA. It's only owner-occupied. We also don't do investment real estate. So rental real estate, any kind of multifamily, that's not in our wheelhouse. It is truly owner-occupied. And I describe it this way: you're selling a service or making a product that's SBA eligible, absolutely. Big change in this administration is must be a US citizen. And that is a new executive order, and has just gone into effect probably a couple of months ago. But normally we look for jobs. So when we're making the loan, how many jobs as an owner are you creating or retaining is a big driver to eligibility. Or are you one of the public policy goals, women-owned, veteran-owned, expansion of a minority enterprise, rural development? Do you fall into that in the Ridgefield market? Those can all be part. Or is there a conversation to be had about stabilizing a community or building a community? And given Ridgefield's growth, you would definitely also fit in the community development piece of the eligibility. Okay, next slide, please. I don't go into this too much. One thing that's catching people, business owners, is the COVID loans, the EIDLs, the PPP, if they're delinquent, if they were taken and repayments not happening, if there's past bad debt with the government. These are the types of things that can make the business ineligible. We don't see it a lot. We have seen a couple of unfortunate cases of PPP fraud through COVID. And somebody's coming in with a new request, and the SBA is just coding it out to us. They don't give us a real explanation. They just say no further action and basically don't ask a question, and we just know then it's under investigation. And again, we don't do anything with landlords or developers. Salons are interesting. Ghost kitchens are interesting. Co-ops, all these things. It's like when you're in a hair salon, a lot of times the salon owner will rent their chairs to other hairdressers. That would be ineligible. But if they have a membership in that salon, so those hairdressers pay a membership fee to be there, that could be eligible. And we help talk people through and co-op, same thing. Is it a membership agreement or a rental agreement? We're working with an artist co-op way up in North Washington right now, and she has a really well done membership agreement, which makes her project eligible. And then next slide, please. So what's the little? The littlest we'll do is a $125,000 project. A lot of times office condos can be very small, so the banks may be making 150 or maybe 75,000. We'll make those deals all day long. The biggest are going to be, the maximum is your $5 million SBA debenture. And those are, example is a hotel. So the port, talking about a hotel. We just did a hotel in Idaho, ground up construction, $23 million. Our portion was a maximum of 5.5 million, and the 5.5 was because we also put green energy. We put solar on the building, so they were able to push it from 5 to 5.5. But we do plenty of office condo in Seattle, North Seattle, and these are much smaller projects. Retailers, a food truck, this food truck, for example, very successful. He finds a brick and mortar space and says, hey, I want to own it. I don't want to pay somebody rent. We're going to absolutely look at that deal. Nothing is too small to talk about or look at for a business owner. And then there is things that are too large because we are in the title small business. So once a company goes over 20 million in annual revenue, they're probably pushing where they're not going to be eligible for SBA. And then next slide. Me. That's just me. So you can call me anytime. You can email me. I'm happy to talk SBA. I'm happy to talk what your project is or what your friend's project is. We do everything. The most interesting thing we've done in Seattle is it's a gurgle pod, and it looks like a water pitcher, and the guy designed it. He found it in France, and every time it pours water, it gurgles. And he just loved the thing. And he's like, I'm coming back to the United States, and I'm going to make this. And he kept trying, and finally he got it. And then he's like, I'm going to build my studio and buy it. And we did a 504 for him. And he's still out there making the gurgle pot. And every time I go see a bank and I train a bank and the lenders, I bring a gurgle to them. And I'm like, this is an SBA loan right here. So it can be just the oddest of things. We do a lot of doctors. I'm doing a veterinarian in Portland right now. A lot of retailers. If you want to own it, there's a path forward for you. And all of us are happy to, and there's a lot of support. And I was telling the port today, you can do a 504 with the port, because the ports, when they start doing the office building, they'll put those on 99-year leases. And that, because it's a government entity, it's like a condo. And we can actually make that loan out there in the port. We can also do the hotel, just saying. So just want to make sure the hotel people know. Gas stations, C-stores. If a bank is kind of shying away from you, call us and let's talk about it. Because if we can't find a bank to do it, we have plenty of non-bank lenders that are also out there in the marketplace willing to lend. So we've got tons of resources. And really, if you walk away from anything with Main Street, is that you're not alone. You have each other, you have the chamber, and you have the SBA. And that's really what I would want any business to know, is that you should never feel like, geez, I don't know where to go or who to talk to, because you have such support out there. Any questions? All right, well, there you go. Hopefully I'll see more. We're excited to hear the port news. That's going to be quite the project over the years. And it's really amazing to come up here and see what's changed in Ridgefield. It's exciting. It's giving you a lot of strength, a lot of opportunity for jobs and economic stability. And I get the true blessing in 3 states to go out and see a lot of small towns, and not all of them are faring so well. And so it's just a pleasure to drive in here and be like, woo, look at all this. So congratulations. Yeah, lots to celebrate here. I hope you all know that. I hope you have a great night. Thanks for having me. And I'm sure we'll talk to you.
I love that. Just even that little bit of information. What Kellyanne and I were talking in the back about a future micro enterprise series. I think we could go more into that. Some of the chamber connections and resources.
There's so many resources.
Yeah.
Businesses should never feel like they don't know where to go.
Yeah.
To get some help, and sometimes it takes some planning. I have a business owner right now, made some just tough financial decisions, got herself in a spot. And really, in just talking with her, it's like, okay, not no, just not now. And a couple of years of doing these things, she'll be ready. So sometimes it's just about planning. And it doesn't have to be immediate, but it can be down the road, totally. So I'll see you
Great
again.
re-
I
gr-
know I will.
Great reassuring information. Thank you so much. And I love hearing from people who obviously come to visit. You all hear it. Oh my gosh, Ridgefield is growing so fast. It looks so good. It looks so different. It's fun being a part of the progress, and we all are. And this does seem like a partnership sort of themed night, and another very important partner that Main Street has is with the Clark County Historic Museum. Brad and I like to, so Brad and I started just about the same time, 9 years ago. We both came in as very new people, and I remember I had him speak at this meeting when it was in the morning, then he had me join his board, and we just kind of like stuck together as newbies. So it's my pleasure to welcome him back to do a museum update and kind of what's going on and what is that partnership like between Main Street and museums. And it kind of has been Ridgefield Main Street, Camas Downtown Association, and you that put together this relationship that we are now talking about statewide. So I'm proud of that and proud of Brad.
All right, well, thank you for the opportunity to come talk to you just for a little bit today. So my name is Brad Richardson. I am the executive director at the Clark County Historical Museum. And just a little background on me, why is this guy up here, talking to you about history and all that. I'm born and raised in Clark County, so I have my local cred for that. And then I am also a trained historian. I actually have a bachelor's in history from Washington State University, go Cougs. And then I have a master's in history from Portland State University, go Vikes, I guess, if anyone's a Viking. And what was that? Oh, yeah, okay. You gotta have the history ringer here. And we've actually had an amazing year in 2024, so it's a couple years ago. The museum actually turned 60, and it was funny because I've been at the museum, I think this is my 16th or 17th year at the museum, and when we turned 60, I think it was my 15th year, and I did the math. I'm a historian, not a mathematician, but I got it right. I realized I had been at the museum for a quarter of the time that it had existed. So that nothing makes you feel old like that, realizing, So today I'm actually going to tell you a little bit about the state of your museum. We are your museum. The Clark County Historical Museum serves all of Clark County. And one of the things I like to talk about is when I came to the museum in 2010, I started as a volunteer. And then I was an intern for a year. And when I walked through the doors, I'm from the Camas Washougal area, and I was looking for the Papermakers and the Panthers. And, I didn't necessarily feel that connection when I walked through the door to look for those things. And so I've had the honor over the last 15 years of really making sure that we are the Clark County Historical Museum and not just, the Vancouver Museum, which every once in a while when folks out here want to give me a little shot, you call me the Vancouver Museum. That's okay. That's all right. So we're going to talk about the state of your museum. So we'll go to the next slide. So who are we? What is the purpose of this museum? Are we just a building? What is the goal? And we really are the memory keepers of the Clark County. We're here to build community through shared story. Our purpose is to gather people together, to tell stories, to share stories, to look at the objects and artifacts that matter to our community. And rooted in that is we're in the humanities, and that is a really key word for our organization because we're about the human experience, seeing each other's humanity, and recognizing the shared stories that we all bring through our collective lives and diverse backgrounds and diverse experiences. So we'll go ahead and go to the next slide. And just real quick, I just got to guys let you know, we have Clark County in our name. We're not the government. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. We do receive some funding from the county, but it's about 10 to 15% a year of what actually keeps us going. We receive $60,000 a year from the county, but we operate in about $400,000. So we raise $320,000 every year to keep your museum going. And so we'll go to the next slide. So this is our board of trustees. We have a lot of folks from all over different backgrounds. We have people who bring a lot of experience for us. We have Actually, we're talking about Small Business Administration. CJ actually works with Fourth Plane Forward and is working with businesses in the International District of Vancouver to try and help them get loans for their businesses. So we have people who have financial backgrounds. Jan Bader used to work for the city of Vancouver and has a government policy background. We have librarians, historians, archaeologists. We have a GIS professional. If anyone's ever had a chance to look at Clark County GIS, it's where you can go see, how much you're paying in taxes for your property and all that fun stuff. And it actually, historians use that quite a bit for research because it has historic maps and land plats and all those things on there. We have folks that work in HR, government officials, hospitality professionals, financial professionals, marketing professionals, and if anyone knows, I don't know if we should, Dawn, I don't know if we should be allowed to show his picture in this theater. We have Captain Dan Wyatt of the Kiggins Theater. So we'll allow it this time. It's okay. So we go to the next slide. And then our team, the team that is the paid staff that serves your entire county is 4 individuals. We have our outreach and public programs manager, so our walks, our talks, our tours, our website, our social media, all that engagement is Samuel Hawkins. We have Alex Wilson, who's our collections manager, who takes the precious objects in our collection and he manages, inventories those, makes sure the stories and the context are connected together. And then we have Katie Bush, who's our engagement interpretation manager, and she's the storyteller. She does our exhibits, our research, and anything related to the interpretive or storytelling work that we do through the historic process. And she is a public historian, which is an actual degree. She's got a master's in public history, and we're kind of the generalists of the history field. So, the regular academic historians who do 17th century French toilets is their discipline. We're not as specific as those folks. We're much more broad. And I am also a trained public historian, but I'm out of practice, so we leave it all up to Katie. We'll go to the next slide. We also have over 50 plus dedicated volunteers that help us manage our museum. And this is just a little smattering of some of the personalities and folks that are there to support the work, give their time, their treasure, their talent to make sure that your museum is continuing. They are the heart and soul of the work that we do. The staff could not do this work alone. We could not be everywhere that we're at without these amazing volunteers. So we'll go to our next slide. So exhibit highlights for 2026. So we have 2 exhibits, or 1 exhibit that's been up for quite a while, History of Brewing, but we recently refreshed that. We had 2 local collectors of Lucky Lager memorabilia that loaned some of those items to our collection. So now you can come and see all kinds of fun Lucky Lager. And if you're not familiar with Lucky Lager, it was the brewery in downtown Vancouver. And it was an economic engine. It was a large employer here in Clark County. So that's been up since 2020. We kind of had a little 3-year stint. I don't know if you guys heard about the whole pandemic thing that happened. So we were closed for about 3 years. So we left that up for a while. And then in April of last year, we were really honored to be able to open This Is Our Legacy, the 80th anniversary exhibit for the Vancouver NAACP. It was a 3-year process working with the NAACP to help amplify and facilitate telling the story of the local NAACP. And then in December, if you guys don't know, last year was the 200th anniversary of Fort Vancouver. And so we were able to commemorate that with Echoes of Fort Vancouver, which tells that from all the way from Indigenous nations to the trade routes being established through the lasting impact. We actually have a photo in our digital collection that is up here in the Ridgefield area, and it says Old Fort Trail, and it shows someone kind of going on it. Not from the fort period. They didn't have photographs back then. But they were going up this trail, and I always love seeing that because the trails and the marks on our physical geography are still present from Hudson's Bay, Fort Vancouver. Mill Plain, Fourth Plain, those 2 roads are named after the plains that the fort designated, which go back to the Indigenous period when there was planned burning and there was the horticulture that was happening with the Indigenous nations. And then coming soon on August 8th, so mark that calendar down because that's a big deal. So I have my CCHM hat on right now. I'm going to take it off for just 1 second. I'm going to throw my WAMA hat on. So I'm also on the board of the Washington Museum Association. And the Washington Museum Association, for the first time ever, is working with the Washington State Historical Society to do a museum day for Washington State. So August 8th is going to be a Washington State Museum Day. Most of the museums are going to be all free. We're going to be free. And we're going to open this exhibit called Moments That Made Us, which is an exhibit that was put together by the Western Museums, and it is to commemorate the 250th anniversary of our Declaration of Independence in our nation. So come check that out and see the stories about our country, our nation, and then we're adding some local personalized stories. And I believe the Ridgefield Multicultural Organization is going to be participating in putting some history up from the Ridgefield area. Next slide. So our museums and our main streets. So the Main Street, if you know how Main Street is situated, it's actually with the Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation, and then they contract out through the Washington Trust, right, to administer the program of the Main Streets. And the reason it's with DAP and with the Washington Trust is because there is a preservation and historical element to all of the Main Street programs. It's about preserving downtowns. It's about taking these spaces that our community members have taken so many years and decades to build and craft, and it's continuing to keep them vibrant with new businesses that become a generational legacy that go all the way back to the founding of our towns. And so it's just a natural connection for museums and main streets to work together. So we go to the next slide. And the big thing is about building relationships. It's about the museum coming out. So, Mary Kay and I, we met each other and we started to talk about how we could amplify the Main Street, amplify the businesses, and connect together. And the museum does have solid relationships with Ridgefield Main Street, the Downtown Campus Association, and Vancouver Downtown Association. And all of those are very key and very important. And we do often work together on a lot of things to make sure that we're telling these stories. And I'll show you a couple of those things. So we'll go on the next slide. So how do we tell stories today is the first thing we want to talk about just a little bit. So I always joke, back in the day, museums and cultural institutions would kind of come down the mountain with 2 tablets of history and just drop it on a community. And it was kind of this like, look how smart I am, right? All the historians and all the museum folks. And it worked and people were interested for a time. But I don't know, as we've kind of looked at how our culture has shifted and changed, people are more engaged in different ways. We see it in social media. We see it kind of in the ways that people's behaviors have shifted. So what we found is that collective storytelling and being facilitators as opposed to dictators is really the way that we tell stories today. And so we're less rooted these days in being the content experts. So if you kind of, come and try to like pull trivia on me, you'll probably lose because I'm pretty good. But our other folks, like volunteers and other people, they're not necessarily like being these kind of catalogs of history like we used to have. Instead, what we're doing is we're taking these skills that we've learned through like Katie and I through public history, or other folks through the other career paths that they've had, and really saying, how can we amplify the story that you want to tell? How can we help you tell an effective story? How can we partner together and make sure that the soul that you want to capture in this moment, or in your family, or in your community, or in this event, how can we help make that happen? And so it's becoming more of a collaborative process. That's how we tell stories today, collaborative and together. We're amplifying, we're facilitating. We can go to the next slide. So one of the reasons and one of the things that is required in that is that we get out of the damn building. A museum can no longer just be 4 walls. It needs to be a concept, and we need to be advocates for memory keeping, storytelling, and for people to have human experiences together. And that's what we're really focusing on. So part of our mission is to go out and actually get into the streets and take our communities and realize that we have the museum of the city, we have the museum of the committee, and start to interpret and bring our skills for being able to plan out that interpretation to help main streets and cities make those plans so that it's a cohesive story. So people, when they see it, they feel something that resonates with their families, with their identities, and with the history that they've had over generations. We go to the next slide. So you might have noticed, I think there are some panels around here in downtown Ridgefield. And so all of this gabbing I've done at you, this is the result. This is the result of relationships. We reached out and we did surveys. We talked to Mary Kay and we talked to other folks in the community. We wanted to hear what matters to you about this site, what matters to you about this story. And then we worked together to write the initial drafts. And then we came back and sat down and said, like, let's go through and let's talk about these. It's a relational process as opposed to a hired gun. And we've actually, interesting enough, we've worked with groups that we kind of came in and we said, like, this is a relationship. We need to work together. And they're like, I thought I was just going to hire you to do this. And we're like, that's not how this works anymore. We need to know the heart and soul, because we don't want to just regurgitate facts. We want to be able to have people look at this and feel like they understand the deeper meaning of the story. We can go to the next slide. We also partnered with the Port of Ridgefield, and we were able to do a series of panels that are down on the new waterfront walk. And again, this was a part where we worked with the port and we looked at the feedback from the community. And we even go down to the level of the design. So obviously, like the one for downtown Ridgefield has one design, this has a different design, and we're working to try to kind of tell a story visually, but also tell a story through the words. Let me go to the next one. The other way we do that is not just through exhibits. Everyone kind of thinks museum exhibits, museum and old stuff, but we also get out there and we tell the stories on the live street. And we can go to the next slide. So I think you guys might recognize this building. So we've been, this is one of my favorite things to talk about is when I came to the museum, we had about 17 million Vancouver walking tours. And I was like, cool. What about all these other places? What about these other cities? And I had to fight so hard to just get us out of Vancouver. And the first place when we were trying to do this effort that was like, yeah, come on up, be a part of our community, help us tell this story was Ridgefield. And it meant a lot to me, and I'll never forget that Ridgefield was this first place that we were able to get outside of Vancouver and start to tell stories on the street with the people in the community. So you can go to the next slide. We also brought our speaker series one of the first times ever on the road. So the rule used to be that the museum would not take things outside the museum, and I was like, that's nonsense. Let's take our talk somewhere else. And so we go to the next slide, you'll see it's going to be really surreal. There's that guy celebrating Main Street, and we came up and we did the whole talk where we talked about the buildings down here, and we were in this very theater telling that story. We can go to the next slide. We also work with communities to have the community storytellers draw out their stories. And so we did this talking canvas where we talked about people who have past history, long-standing history, people who are working today. And if you go to the next slide, you can actually see we did it in the I want to call it the Garfield Theater, but it's the Garver now. And we were able to have this panel discussion, and about 100 people showed up to hear the history from these women who have shaped the course of Camas. So we'll go to our next slide. And then we have not just the talks that we do for speaker series, but we also do a program called History on Tap. And you can go to the next slide. And it's about communicating with the community in multiple ways and continuing on a relationship. It's not just about a transaction of telling and, running down the street and yelling history at people. It's about working together. Often on our tours, people share stories with us, and we encourage that. We want the local folks to share their stories. Hey, if we've got something off us, Coach, we want to know, and we want to make sure that we're telling the most accurate and authentic story for a community. And so we gladly welcome the conversation and the communication. We can go to the next slide. So what has happened between 2025 and 2026 at your museum? So we opened Echoes of Fort Vancouver, as I mentioned. We also digitized an additional 1,000 photos to our digital collection. We have 18,000 images in total online in our digital collection, and our digital collection is about the 6th largest in the Pacific Northwest. And it is free and accessible worldwide, no barriers, no pay. It is accessible to everybody. We did launch and lead the America 250 Committee for Clark County, and we just completed the successful work of doing that. We took over stewardship of the Covington House, which is the oldest structure in the state of Washington, not on its original foundation. I'm a historian, so I have to say all of that. And we're really excited about activating this historic cabin that has been in our community for a long time and really deserves to have a lot more history made today in that space. We also established the new Downtown Vancouver Information Center, which will be dedicated on August 1st. With that plan, we're starting with highlighting small businesses in downtown Vancouver, but we have a multi-year plan to eventually highlight businesses all across our county. We're just trying to not be too big for our britches right off the bat. And so we're working and kind of pacing ourselves. And the museum is 100% funding that program with, we do get a stipend from Visit Vancouver. They're doing some partnership, but for the majority of it, we're funding that program. We have achieved sellouts for our Wonder Clark County walking tours, our haunted tours, and multiple speaker series. We've seen a complete recovery from COVID, where we are selling out our programs, standing room only, hottest ticket in town. We have hosted winter and summer and actually seasonal native markets with 400 to 700 visitors. And we do not charge the indigenous vendors any fee. We don't charge a rental, and they take 100%. So it goes back into the small business community 100%. And we staff it. We pay for the marketing. We do all the things to make sure that we're supporting small business. We also help secure the acceptance of the McLaughlin Heights Church of God on the Washington State Register. We did finalize our exhibit, and then we completed a public history course partnership. Our historian, Katie Bush, recently just taught her first class of public history. And I think there's one more. It says and. What is the and? What did we do? Oh, my God. We brought our Popular History on Tap program to the historic Old Liberty Theater in Ridgefield. So I feel like I should have like that, that Steve Jobs, turtleneck on right now. Just did the Apple reveal. We are so excited to make our home here for History on Tap, the 2026 season here in Ridgefield and in the Old Liberty Theater. We want to thank Main Street and everyone who supported us, and it has been a packed house. And the last one, Our Mr. Matsura, the film that was shown, the documentary by Beth Harrington, it was one of the most moving moments that I've ever had in any of our programs, having people be able to watch that and then being able to speak with Beth about that film and what it meant for her to make that. And if you did not get to see that, you should find a way to watch that film. It is just unbelievable. It is an unbelievable story. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. What's happening at your museum? So we have our speaker series, History on Tap, walking tours. We also do a member appreciation month. We do community takeovers. So every first Friday, we allow a community group to have our building. So nonprofits, some cultural arts and heritage, and other nonprofits do not have physical spaces. We had like Battle Buddies, I think, a few, like last year. They don't have spaces to meet and greet folks. And so on First Friday, we say, come on in, have the building, it's all yours. And we basically give them a free rental, and then it's built in with the audience that comes walking in for the First Fridays. So that's our way to give back to the community. And then obviously hosting local markets. We can go to the next slide. So I'll leave you on this last point is it takes the community to support our organization. And now this is not just me trying to pitch you to buy something tonight, because you folks can walk away with your very own copy of our historical annual, which is out front. And we have our 2025 and our 2022. And inside that annual, there is a very special bookmark, which is a membership form and an envelope to send it back to me. So if you sign up for membership, if everyone in this room signed up for membership today, you would probably raise my membership by about 3%. So imagine the impact that everyone in this room today could have. And it is what helps us go. We've grown our membership. When I started in 2017 as director, we had 214 members. Last year, we were over 800. So we want to continue to grow that number because we feel like it's important for people to connect with their heritage, connect with their story, but most importantly of all, connect with each other. And that's what they do when they come to our programs and they come to our museum. So thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today.
Love that. I wanted to say briefly, well, first of all, are there any other announcements or anybody that wants to announce anything from any other organizations? Joni, anything? Okay, I think we're good. Our next evening community meeting is going to be September 17th. And one booking we have on that already is our representative, Peter Abarno. So he will be here on the 17th. And I'm reminded of the importance of talking about volunteers and connecting with community. And I was reminded of our Get Involved Ridgefield event, which I love. We will do that again. The opportunity to hear about all of these different organizations and how each of you or where each of us want to fit in different ways, because we all wear so many hats. We're still a very small town. We all do a lot of different things, but the opportunity to hear about or organizations like we do here and our Get Involved event is just a really important time to remember that connection and how we can give back and also get what we need from each other by just connecting and staying connected. I love that the other line of small businesses not being alone. And I love that none of us are alone tonight and ever. So thank you. Thank you for being here. And please eat again.